Hey everybody, how you doing? It is late in the evening, and I apologize for this late post. Um, you can see everything's kind of messed up here in the shop. Been working through the day. Um, I was going to let you guys know because I told you guys before about running for office, about um, going for the Central Committee, and I had a lot of people asking me about what is the Central Committee, or what what is it, right? And the easiest way to explain it that I have come up with is that the Central Committee is it's like a grassroots. It's the grassroots level. It's the the working man's level of, hello Annette, of the um, for our group, for us, it's the Republican Party. Every party has these kinds of groups. They are used mostly by the organizations for getting information out, getting the word out, and everything. And hello, Miss Danielle. I hope you're feeling better. Hello, Tammy. How you doing? Um, and um, it seems that well, the way it sits right now is it doesn't look like I won, but the whole thing, even though it is an elected position, and this isn't just here in California. This is throughout the country. Every county, everywhere has, if you look at your ballots, they may call it a little bit something different, but um, it is, you'll see it like out here. It's called the Central Committee. They are your county group of people that work in conjunction with your state um, political groups, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, because each one has their own, right? Um, like I ran for the um, egg drop soup, very good. Make sure you put some garlic in it. Garlic's always good for you. Um, each one has their own group that's based on, like I vote Republican, so that's what the group that I would be in. If I voted Democrat, then I could run for their, whatever they call it. Okay, and we've been watching this very closely about what's going on, and um, unless it's a godsend, it doesn't look like I'm going to make it. But the thing is that part doesn't matter, because the biggest part of what we were trying to do was to bring attention to it, have people understand what is the Central Committee, what does it do, what is its purpose. And it's like I was telling people, it is a way for the average Joe, the guy who's working, you know, 12, 14, 18 hours a day, to be able to have somebody in their community and go and say, hey, look, I'm a little bit tired of this, the Republicans say this, but now they're doing this or that, and to get a consensus and to pass that up. Now, over the last 15 years here in my county, these seats have not come up for a vote, because they have figured out creative ways to be able to alter that. Instead of putting it on the ballot, people voting for it and everything, what they do is they encourage a person who's going to leave or retire to stay on until after the election, and then they go ahead and they let them toddle off, go do whatever, and then the person in charge would put somebody else that would be a hey boy for them in that seat. Well, we found out about it, and we turned the tables. We brought a lot of attention. In fact, uh, in our particular district, or in our county, there has been some shenanigans going on, shall we say. and it has to do with finances and other things that are less than desirable. And the biggest win out of this whole thing is all of this is coming to light. The local TV station, the one of the radio broadcast groups is putting it out on the air, and in doing that, it is getting more and more attention. And what's been happening is that not just here in our county, but I know that down in Los Angeles County, I know in San Diego County, a lot of the different counties, people are like, well, if that's going on in Kern County, what are they doing in our county? So in 48 out of the 58 counties here in California, it's changing. And there's a lot of new people that are getting in. And so in doing that, exactly, we're shining the light. We're one of the guys that's in the group that I was working with was saying we're turning over the apple cart. And I said, well, I'm just a little pudgy, little dwarf kind of guy. I said, I love my pie. So let's not destroy the apples. I said, why don't we just take a page out of the Bible? I said, why don't we just go in and kick over the temple tables? Because that was the biggest thing. That's where the problem was money. Because these people, right now there is a thing on, we reported it to the FPPC, which has to do something about the voting or something. I don't know what the letters actually stand for, but you report bad stuff that goes on, right? And so it's being reported to them, and they're looking at a $50,000 transfer of money. You have to look into your local counties, Danielle, where you are, because in each county it is run separately, and each county reports directly to the state. So some counties may be great, some counties may be fine, other counties maybe not so much. Now I don't know, because I know that in our county we have a different kind of a situation where one of the people that is running it also has their own business, which isn't a bad thing. We believe in that, and that's great, except for the fact that her business is directly correlated to the election, because her business backs a lot of different people. They come, what do they call them? They call them an election, like a manager or something, right? Well, that's what her company does. They work with them and get their names out there, and they mail things out and everything. Well, they made a donation, and I don't know all the exact politics on it, so I really don't want to get way down into the weeds, but there was money that was moved and given to another organization that then took that money to send out flyers or something, and it's getting really convoluted. So in us just stirring the pot by having, like in my district, we have 5 people that we can have on that board. And all they need to do is keep it at 5. Nobody else registers. Just 5 people register. The county will not put it on the ballot. They will not print it on the ballot. It will not go on the ballot. Nobody knows about it. All we needed to do is have one extra person. Well, we had 5 extra people that put their name up, okay, besides the incumbents. And they had 1 or 2, I think, that just, they walked away. But, it was by doing that, now our District 2, had to go on. Well, the thing is that in our county, it's the Political Freedom Group or something like that, and or no, the whatever. Anyways, they were actually hitting every single district, because all these districts are on one committee. So if one's dirty, that means that there may be a little bit of dirt under somebody's nails somewhere else. So all of them. And we were able to get people into almost every single one of all the other districts. Now, our districts are divided out by the supervisors. You know how you have a district supervisor? Well, that's how they break down for the central committee out here. So, yeah, I found out that no, I didn't make it. But one of the big things that we don't have a whole lot to say about, but we kind of do, was different things that the political party looks at. And then I found out today, it was funny, before I came on, I was speaking with Naomi and Tammy, and one of them said about the protecting the children, which is one of my biggest things. And hey, Patricia, my biggest thing is protecting our children. That was the reason I ran originally I ran for school board. I was out of the public arena. I was out of that. I didn't want to do that anymore. I was just happy in my workshop. I was happy working my property. And I realized that I got this thing in the mail one day, and I went ahead and I ran for that, and I didn't make it. But I found out that it gave me a look under the hood, if you will. And I wasn't real happy with some of the stuff I saw. But my friend made it to the county level. I found out today that tomorrow night is the county school board meeting, and they are having their meeting about the quote unquote unsavory books, if you will. I don't want to go into a lot of detail of what they're actually calling them. They are not educational unless you are of a certain mindset, and then if you are, you have no reason whatsoever to be around children. And anyway, so their vote and everything's supposed to be tomorrow night. So I'm going to be going down there tomorrow night, and I have to figure out how to very nicely put exactly what I want to tell them, because the last time I was down there, not only did I roll over the top of them, but I rolled over the top of the clock. And one of the ladies said, "You're done. You need to stop. Your time has ran out." And I very politely, with a very deep baritone voice, let her know that, no, you need to hear this. And my friend who's sitting on the council about 2 chairs away from her, I looked over at her. She still had her cowboy hat on, and all I saw was her taking, she just lowered her head. So I'll be going down there for that tomorrow night. And yes, it is. But that is something that is taught at that level, at elementary school level, by the parents. Okay, the kids got to learn their numbers. They got to learn how to write. They got to learn how to read before they need to be learning anything about that. Okay, that's the problem with society. It's like, oh, look, they have a heartbeat. Let's start teaching them everything. It's like trying to teach an elementary school kid about nuclear science. Okay, it's not something that they're going to grasp. It's something that they don't need. They need to learn how to add. If I give them a $5 bill and I've got a $4.30 bill, they need to be able to figure out real quick, without pulling out a calculator or their phone, how to make change. They need to be able to read the owner's manual to something that they own, or even when they're getting a job, to go in and read the employee's manual. Okay, right now in my district, I think it's the reading level is 34%. The math level is the highest. It's at 42%. That means 42% pass. And folks, they've lowered it so far, if it was jump rope, the rope would just be laying on the ground. Okay? They need to learn the basics first. First, they need to learn how to be kids. We need to let them run and play and be kids. Not, 8 or 10 hours of school and then 14 hours of homework afterwards. They need to run and exercise. That's part of the problem. The kids now, they're saying, oh, the kids, they have ADHD and we have to drug them. We've got to give them medication because they're being all antsy in class. Yeah? Well, why don't you let them go out and run? Put them out on the playground for 20 minutes every hour. Let them go out there and play and just get crazy. Okay? Because that's what we used to do. I remember going into class being all sweaty and everything from running and playing, but all the energy was gone. Okay? You can sit down and learn. You learn how to write your letters. You learn how to do math. You learn how to, if they want to increase their brains, okay, fine. So step the math up a little bit. Help them with their reading. Teach them history. When was the last time that anybody in any school right now taught real American history, real world history? Okay? You try to teach them about the wars. You try to teach them about politics. You try to teach them, when I was in school, we were learning about the different parts of the government, the different houses, what each part of the government did. Okay? These kids don't know any of that now. They're just there. We don't need to be forcing any of this DEI stuff or what was the other one? I forgot. It's college level classes, and they're trying to put it into elementary and junior high and high school. Hey, Faith. And it's sad. So these books that they've got, my friend who is on the school board has access to a site that has the books on there. And so she had printed out a couple of the pages off of the website that some of us have looked at. And it's not, being a guy, and ladies, I don't know about you, but the guys, it was always the big joke about somebody getting a Playboy from their brother or maybe taking one of their dad's collection, right? And we'd all sneak around behind the backstop at school, and we'd be critical race theory. Thank you, Naomi. Yes. First of all, critical. Well, to a kid, critical is is he gonna tear his pants up, or is he gonna lose his marbles, or is he not gonna be able to pass a test? Race, they don't need to know anything. The only thing they need to know about race is it's running. Are you faster than the other kids? Theory, they have no concept of theory. None whatsoever. They're not even going to learn about theory until they get into junior high or high school. Okay? We each have a responsibility. I don't have any kids in elementary school. I've got 5 grandkids now. Okay? They don't need to learn about theories about race or theories about anything that's critical. Okay? They need to learn how to survive in life. They need to know how to make change. They need to know how to do math in their heads. So it is vitally important that we all get involved. We have been so distracted by this government and everything of, you have to continue working. You have to work harder. Now you got to get 2 jobs. Okay, I know guys that have 2 jobs and their wife has a job. They're juggling the kids. It's like, one's running in and one's running out, trying to get to their work and trying to get to their jobs. And they are. Naomi, they're terrible. I read part of what one of the books was about, and it was like, and it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not just about, the male-female kind of interaction. This is a whole different world that these kids are being indoctrinated into. Oh, they need to know this. No, they don't. No, they don't. Okay? Because if you're any kind of a mechanic, if you're any kind of mechanical, you understand that if you have a bolt, the bolt screws into the nut. You can't take 2 bolts and screw them together. You can't take 2 nuts and screw them together. The bolt screws into the nut, or the nut screws onto the bolt. It's very simple. Okay? And these books are trying to teach them that they can take two bolts and put them together, and it doesn't work. Okay, because I'm not going to go there because that's me putting my stuff into it. These books are just not right. So yeah, they are, Naomi. They're all over the place. They're like an upside down pizza with extra cheese. It just slides. They're all literally all over the place. And so, anyways, yeah, I didn't make it doesn't look like I made the cut for the Central Committee, but that's fine because it gives me the opportunity, like tomorrow night, to go down there and just kind of let it all hang out. I'm just going to go down and have a real good heart-to-heart conversation with the county school board, and I'm gonna have a discussion with them about it. And I read my local school board the riot act one day when I went in there about all the stuff that's going on in these classrooms, all the stuff that they're teaching. And when I got done, the ladies were about as bright red as you could get, and the men were just kind of looking around like they had just been punished like a 4-year-old. And yeah, I took a lot more time than I was supposed to, but they let me, So I'll probably end up doing the same thing tomorrow night, and most likely they're probably going to have sheriffs and police down there. So I got to make sure that I don't get arrested. How would that look? I'm supposed to be here leading a Bible study, but I can't do it from jail. So I just got to watch my P's and Q's. But yeah, it's folks, it's very interesting how when things are brought to light, that those that have their fingers in the pie scatter. So it was an excellent effort by us to toss the temple tables. We brought a lot of light into what they are doing, and we were able to make a change for the better. Did we get the change we wanted? No. Are we going to go out and riot and start burning down buildings? No. It ain't going to happen. Okay? You take your losses, you figure out how to work your very best from there. Yeah, that's true. Hey, Cleo. Yeah, the YouTube thing screwed up this morning. When I put it, I don't even know if YouTube went on this morning or not, but it said to schedule. And so when I put it in there, instead of putting it in as AM, it put it in as PM. So I get a message from Naomi. She says, "Are you going live tonight?" I went, "No, not that I know of." And she says, "Well, YouTube says you are." I said, "Well, I guess I am then." So, but yeah, I just figured I'd come on and let you guys know, because I know a lot of you guys are praying about that and everything, about the Central Committee, because it needs a change. It needed to be it's kind of like after the winter. I don't know, some of you guys, I remember back with my grandparents during the winter, it was, the winters were really long. They lived in Nebraska, and where they lived, the winters were real long. So I remember my grandma, she would open up the house on that very first really nice day. She would open up the house to let the air flow through, right? Well, that's kind of what they need, is we need to get the doors open and the windows open, and we need to get some fresh air blowing through that Central Committee to get it back on track where it needs to be, along with exposing it, people knowing about it, people understanding that they have a voice. They don't have to just stand around and wonder what happened. They can say things. They can put words out there. They can talk to the people that are on the council, because that's our biggest thing. Is we got to start with our families. We have to start with our families first, but then we need to move outside of that to our towns and to our little communities, and then into our counties, because that's where it's going to start. That's where, hey, Rain. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize Trump was on. You mean I was competing with the boss? Yeah, gum. I hope Secret Service doesn't show up here and get in trouble or nothing. I mean, I ought to have won the seat, but yep, shining the light. That's the thing, Tammy. It was more important that the light gets shined into the cracks, that things get exposed. I mean, there's people that knew of the committee, and then when you start laying out the facts for them, they're like, "They did what?" It's like, "Yeah, this is what they did, and here's the information." And then it's like, "Oh, well, that's not good." Yeah, you think? So, and they were fighting. They were scared. They were fighting hard. They were sending. They actually, the Young Republicans group here in my county, the people that were incumbents, partnered with them to do their bidding, sending out cards. What do you call them? Like the little voter recommendation cards or whatever. Oh, the one from Saturday. Okay. I didn't know. I thought he maybe had that dude. You can't tell when he's got rallies. I mean, I got a nagging suspicion that he flies around, and he's going to one rally and he looks down and goes, "Well, what's that place down there?" And they say, "Well, that's Kansas." "Well, let's do one. We'll go here where we're going, and then we'll call and set one up for Kansas. We'll do that on the way back." Right? So it's he does so much. It's just crazy. And yep, I'm in my shop. That's where I'm at, Loopy. And so garage is where you put cars. I could probably put a Hot Wheels in here somewhere, but I don't think I can't get a car in here. I got too much equipment. But yeah, and it's concerning of what they're doing. You're talking about the central committees, or not sure where you are, what country you're in or state you're in, as to what they call it there. They call them by different names, but basically it is your and here in California they set it up by the supervisory district, and they have a group of people that work at the grassroots level with the people to get information out to the people of things that are going to be voted on, things that are going to come up, but also to get that information the other direction from the people up, to tell them that, well, you know what, you bring that up, you try and vote on that, and they're going to burn your phone lines down. Okay, and let them know, the people aren't happy with what's going on. So, but anyways, folks, yeah, that's kind of it. It was it's been an interesting few weeks. The other thing that I've got going on right now is going to be they've got the precinct project, which is kind of along the same lines as the Central Committee, except that it is citizens taking care of their own small district in their area, and making sure that people know. Right now, the biggest question we've got coming up is here in California. We had an election on the 5th, like you all did. You had your in wherever, some of them still coming up, some of them already happened, but that was our primary. And then on the 19th of March, we have I believe it's the primary for replacing Kevin McCarthy in Congress. And then they're going to have that election, which will in turn trigger one in May, another election that will be for the permanent seat for Kevin McCarthy, because his term would have ended in December or January, whatever, that time period. So they're going to have another election for the permanent to take that one, and then we have one in November. So in California, we're going to have 4 elections this year, and we've got people throwing away their ballots They're like, why did I get an extra ballot? And they're running it through their grinder, getting rid of them. And it's like, no, 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 no. You got to vote. You got to, there's another election. Well, what election's coming up? And then we have to explain it to them. That's because people don't understand. It's, it's not being explained to them. So, and you guys may be having similar things in your areas where you've got multiple elections going on all at one time. The thing I found out yesterday that was really interesting is there was a guy on, I forgot what show it was I was listening to, but he broke down how much money is being spent this year on elections. And then when you remove the presidential primary and the presidential final election, right? And you only look at the two, the two for McCarthy, and you look at all the trouble it's causing, right? Meaning, they're trying to figure all this out and people scurrying around and trying to do things. It is going to cost them, it's like, I think it was like $1.4 million by his decision. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's it. We pray for guidance. We can pray for you, Novus. You keep your head down. You stay quiet. You make yourself almost non-existent. You just stay out of the way. You just let everybody. You do your time and you get out. Yeah. Don't piss anybody off. That would be my one thing. If I have to go in, that would be the one thing. Is I just I would have to really really bite my tongue because, as some of the people here can tell you, I share my attitude. They probably make me shave my beard off too. That would really piss me off. This has been just about a year, maybe a year and a half. And I'd have to shave that off. I don't want that to happen. Yeah, it's all this money that they're spending now. And they say it all started because McCarthy dragged his feet. I'm going to go. No, I'm not. I'm going to go. No, I'm not. I'm going to go. No, I'm not. All the way up into December. And he finally said, all right, I'm going to go. And so he walks away from the chair. He's kicked out as Speaker of the House. So then he just walks out of his position. Okay. And so that triggered a whole bunch of other things. All this money put into advertising and other people running for office and all this rigmarole and all this money. And it could have been, if he would have said, well, yeah, I'll be a man about it. I signed up and I'll stick it out to the end of my term, but he didn't. Or if he had, as soon as he got kicked out of being the speaker, if he had said, well, you know what? I'm thinking about doing this. And the people around him were saying, well, yeah, okay, so let's take a look at that. And he said, well, this is what it could cause. This is what it could do. This blah, blah, blah. Then they could make a decent decision about what they're going to do. And he just kept bouncing around about it, never said anything. And then finally he just like, well, yeah, I think I'm going to quit. Thanks, this isn't an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. Just do it as soon as you can. And, so, but there's a lot of these things a lot of people don't know about. Like I say, I've talked to a couple of people who got the extra ballots and they sent them back. That's the worst thing you can do. I don't know about your state, but here in California, that's the worst thing you can do. Okay? That's like giving meat to a lion to have him transport it back to the zookeeper. That steak ain't going to make it, but maybe 5 feet. And that's only because he wants a good place to lay down to gnaw on the bone. So, it's, you don't want to send them back. We've had a lot of people that have gotten extra ones. That's something else that as a group that we found out about, that we are urging people to let us know if they get an extra ballot. Exactly, Tammy. Hola, ¿cómo está, amigo? So, it's crazy, but it is something that we all are going to have to deal with in our own ways, in our own states. Each state is having turmoil and things that are going on in their own way for whatever reason they have. Whether the district attorney is messed up, or they've got governors that are messed up, or DAs or whatever, right? The best way to solve the situation is to be involved, to listen, to put your word out, keep your ears open. If you're listening to somebody or whatever, and they're saying, well, you know what, we need to call about this. This is important. Then if you feel the need to act, then call. I mean, it's a phone call, right? You pick up your phone, or you pick up your cell phone, and you dial the number, and you be polite. You let them know, but you be very straightforward with them. Okay. I'm working on it. I'm working on my Gandalf beard. Okay. I'm working more along the lines of ZZ Top is what I'm hoping for eventually. I want to get it down here somewhere. I can just take it and put it right up. I don't need a face mask. I'll just put it right up over the top of my head and put my hat on. I can almost do it now. I can kind of get it up to my nose. I can get up there like that. So I got a mask, but yeah. Oh, no, it is Cleo. There, yeah. Haiti is in bad shape. And it's a lot of different places around this world are just coming unglued. It's almost like for a time, God has had his hand right on everything, right? And nope, not a cop. And you mean army? Nope. No, I wasn't a dog face. I was a squid. It's like God lifted his hand off, almost like he put us on a bike or something, and said, "Okay, let's ride." And he's helping us, and then he takes his hands off for a minute, right? And all of a sudden, the world's going like this. It's like, oh, we're gonna fall over, right? And what does everybody do? They run right back to God immediately. Don't let this happen. Please don't let this happen. We should have been praying the whole time through. A lot of us were, but a lot of them aren't. Oh yeah. Oh, they're having problems right now with a lot of these people who are coming across the southern border, who they've got oh heck, what did Steve say this morning? Is it measles or chicken pox? There's some disease, something that we haven't had for like ever, and all of a sudden we have all these people coming across the southern border. Okay, and they're coming across with diseases that we don't have. Hey, Rob from Pennsylvania. Wow. And yeah, pretty much, Naomi. Yeah, we ain't got no brakes, and I can't figure out how to get out of the cab. I can't get the door open to jump, because we're literally we're almost going to be the aftermath of the train wreck. Oh yeah, we've got bubonic plague. There's measles. Yeah, that was it too. Yeah, measles. Because they're finding what's happening is they're bringing them in, and then they're putting them into these camps in these different areas, right? And all of a sudden, somebody who doesn't have the inoculation, if you will, the shot, whatever, let's say for measles, all of a sudden now they're catching measles from somebody that they just brought in. Hey, Sal, just kind of chewing the fat for a little bit here. My programming thing screwed up, so normally I do my Bible study first thing in the morning, and it reset for this evening. So I figured instead of wasting it, I just pop on here real quick and talk a little bit about what's going on, and it seems that everybody here knows a whole lot more than I do, so it's not like I'm teaching anybody anything. But yeah, it's scary because I know I had to go. I had to get that. You get that really cool tattoo in your shoulder where they had to give you the shot for whatever it was, measles or whatever. I don't know, but I still got the mark in my shoulder, and now they're going. It's all coming back, and thank you, Sal. Appreciate it, brother. Hey, Ricky, Tennessee, huh? Wow. It's concerning. And I know that each person has their own avenue of protection, if you will, medications, whatever, however you're going to do it. Mumps, measles, yeah. It's just, the whole thing. And all I can do is to urge you guys, whatever your path is that you follow, whether it's holistic or if it's medicines or whatever, be prepared. Because as you notice, if you go back to September of last year, if you go back to August of last year, we weren't where we are now. So you can look at, the MMR, you go back, and if we went back and looked to where we are right now, and somebody told us this is where you're going to be, we would, no, it's not going to go. It's not going to go it's going to go that far. They're finally they've got now the documentation that the current administration is actually flying people into the country. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about going to the border. No, you ain't got to go down there and get wet. You don't have to go across that silly river. You have to fight through any of that barbed wire or nothing. Just come to the airport. We'll give you a ticket. We can fly you from here to wherever you want to go. You know who's paying for that is us. You, me, my taxes, your taxes. It's like paying the taxi fare for somebody that you never invited to Thanksgiving dinner, but they take the money out of your account for the taxi for them to get to your house just to show up and go, oh, hi, I'm here. Hey, cool, let's eat. Now that's not to say that I don't want them to come. I enjoy all of them coming. Come legally. Put in your paperwork. Okay? The reason is because you're the good person, you're the good one, you put in your paperwork, you're good. The ones that aren't good are the ones that just storm the gates, right? They want to overtake the place. They want to, Biden keeps opening his mouth. Oh yeah, we'll give you phones. Oh, come on, we'll fly you in. We'll get you in an airport. We'll put you up in a hotel across the street. Then when the plane leaves at like 12:30 at night, and you arrive somewhere at 4:00 in the morning, we'll bus you out to wherever you're going to go under the darkness of night, and then we'll put you up there, and then we'll get you out of there and sneak you out to somewhere else. Oh, it is. No, it is. YouTube is, Facebook is, um, but we've had our bout. We won the first round. Um, they they were trying to kick us off of Facebook, and I went back and I let them know that the facts that they were dealing from were incorrect. And so, hello, Gemma. And so I let them know. And miraculously, all of a sudden, one day, I get this email that said, "We let the people that filed the copyright thing know, and they took a look at your video, and in fact, they pulled back their stuff. You didn't violate any kind of copyright thing, so everything was put back up." Praise God. That was God working, because they could have, whatever, but it was somebody put it in there, and you know there was no copyright problem. So we just keep pushing forward. We keep moving, and it's no, I kind of agree with it. I like Trump from the day that he started running. Now the funny thing is everybody goes, "Oh, you know what? Geez, you shouldn't like him because he's done this and done that." Obviously you don't know me. I haven't always been that really nice, kind Christian person. Did a lot of things in my life, and yep, yeah, that was part of what I was talking about. In that they bringing them in now. They're getting smart, so they're having when they have escorts with them, they'll have like a mother and they'll have like a two. They'll have a male and a female who act as like mother father, and then they'll have like 3 or 4 kids together, and they'll space the ages just right, so that it looks like you've got like a young teen, maybe 13, maybe 14 years old, and then you've got like a 10-year-old, and then you've got like a 5-year-old, and then a baby. Okay, so they're all together. But yeah, it was a prayer that was answered. People were praying about it, because they could have just as easily said, we're not going to listen to what you got to say. You keep putting them up, and we're just going to keep taking them down. And I wasn't going to put up with it, and I very politely and nicely said that that's what you're saying I didn't do, and here's the facts. So, but it's at a point, folks, where each of us need to we need to protect our families. Yep. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of sheriffs that are stepping in. A lot of sheriffs. There's I don't remember what state he was from. I saw him this morning. He basically said that it's he ain't waiting for Biden. He ain't waiting for nothing. He finds out that they're illegal, he's gonna put them back on the buses and back down to either Texas or wherever. They're not going to be here. It's either that or I'm going to put you in jail. So and the problem is, the thing that bothers me more than anything else, folks, is that you work hard for your money. I worked hard for my money. Okay. And let's put it this way. I come from Danish ancestry. And what does that mean? Hey, Uplifting, how you doing? That means that I can take 2 pennies, I can rub them together, and I'm so tight that I can give you a nickel. Okay? I mean, seriously, that's how tight I am with money. And I don't like to see people just lose money, throw money away. Money gets wasted. No, I was nice about it, Rain. I gave them a chance. I helped first. The first time I asked them to recheck it. The second time they sent a thing out, I said, look, I'm getting tired of this. You guys are doing this. You need to look at what you're doing. The third time, I told them that they are violating my freedom of speech. And no matter what their policy says, if they are accusing me of something, then we are going to have to go and see a justice of my choosing. And I will make sure it's in the most conservative court in the land, and I will file the lawsuit against them for removing my material because they are operating on a lie and I can prove it. So I asked them very nicely to recheck everything and to contact the people that were putting it out. And about a week later is when I got the email that said, oh yeah, we sent that over to them, and they said, no, there's no copyright violation. We're sorry, so we put everything back up. Okay. But yeah, it's, folks, I don't like seeing our money get wasted. Your money, my money. And I mean, it's bad enough that the money's being wasted, they're coming in. Okay. But then to have to turn around and they're gonna ship them all back, and we're gonna be wasting. It all could have been very simple if they just said no. But the way that the current administration is looking at it is they need more people because they know that they're going to lose. I mean, Trump has outlasted every single one of the Republicans. He's just basically mashed them. And then now the Democrats are trying to figure out who they're going to run against him. Now, is Trump a really good guy? No. He's not perfect. Neither is Biden, neither is Clinton, neither is Obama, neither is Bush, neither is J. Edgar Hoover, neither is any of them. No, not one. It says so in the Bible. Okay? But the reason I like him is because he's not a politician. You have to understand, he's a businessman. He doesn't look at things the way these guys do. He doesn't look at it as a my country's going to do this, so your country is going to do that, and I want this from your country. You want no. He says, I want more money for my company. I want my country to be better, and that's the way he approaches everything. Okay, it's all about business for him. That's how we ended up in the way we were with the very best economy we'd ever had, and the lowest cost. I mean, he was buying oil for like nothing on, for a barrel, and now, Biden puts all this stuff out about, well, look at what I did. I mean, I don't know if any of you. I hope you guys didn't. I really do. I hope none of you watched the State of the Union. I really do. For those of you who did, I'll pray for you, because I know that you got to have some psychological impact from that. He did. You're right, Naomi. He got the job done. He went in as a businessman and dealt with everything as a businessman. The best way as a businessman to do it is to figure out, how can I win and how can the other person win? Okay. Now, the other person can't win more than I do, but, make them feel good. Make them feel like they're winning something. So, so we both get something out of the deal. You want to read some interesting books, read The Art of the Deal and The Art of the Comeback that he wrote, because those will give you a really good mindset of what we can kind of expect out of him. Because you have to understand, when he wins in November, the second the rubber hits the road, I watched through it, but I was watching three others. I was watching on LFA TV. I watched The one that Jeremy had. I watched Steve Bannon. The one that, or not, was it Steve? Yeah, no. Glenn Beck, excuse me, it was Glenn Beck. And then somebody else, I forget. I had 3 of them up that I was watching their commentaries while this is going on. Plus, I was listening to watching Trump's commentary. I had a headache for 2 days after that. So, hey, well, maybe he's picking something up. Maybe he's learning something. Give him a ballot. See how he votes. But the thing that got me about Trump was the business side. I didn't care about his politics. As soon as I saw how he was doing with the money, that is what sealed it for me. And I think that our country really has a chance if we plant our feet and we all pull together, because it may not seem like a lot, but when you have the people at the grassroots, you got your farmers, you got your miners, you got your oil industry people, you have your truckers, you get everybody pulling together, working together. As long as we're pulling in the same direction, I don't care about politics. Understand me. If you want to play the politic game, we're going to lose the country, because it's going to be exactly what Satan wants. What he wants is to split everything. That is what he's all about, is to split people apart. Okay? Separate parents from children. Separate husbands from wives. Why do you think everything's so screwed up? We're all having to work so many extra jobs and so much extra time. Okay? We do. We need the Senate. We need the House. We need the whole dadgum thing. Okay? Because I know for a fact, I just heard just before I was in here that Laura Trump is the co-chair of they're calling it the New Republican Party, but it's the RNC. And I can't remember who the guy was that they put in as the chair, but they've already started cleaning house. They've already started tossing the temple tables in there. People are getting bounced out. Okay. They're not waiting for November. They're getting it started right now, because they understand that, there we go. They understand that if we don't get it straight, if we don't get this right, things may not be right. Okay. I just have and this whole thing, I hope and pray that whatever happens, I pray that we get Newsom recalled again and get him out of California, because anybody who says that in a state that cannot supply the proper amount of electricity to their people, right? They can't get the electricity out to a point where they have to tell people, be prepared during the summer, because we're going to have to shut the power down because everybody's drawn too much power. And yet they've got a nuclear power plant down below San Diego, and they're talking about a water shortage. Well, you got the whole Pacific Ocean off the coast, and you can build the desalination plants so you can get all the fresh water you want. And yet he says, oh, well, by 2030, there'll be no more gas vehicles sold in California. I'm seriously thinking that he and Biden need to have adjoining rooms in whatever loony bin they're going to put him in, because we've seen all the accidents that have. Now, I live up on top of a mountain, and we get anywhere from a foot up of snow up here. And I've got a buddy that has one of the, he was given one, or he's driving, I forget it. Oh, he's testing it. That's what it was. One of the Tesla trucks, one of the new trucks. And it looks pretty cool. You know, it's okay. And it's electric, and he says it does fairly well. But he loaded his Humvee up on a trailer and tried hauling it with the truck. And the problem is that it didn't last all that long. And if it's not going to last, what are you going to do about the semis? You're not going to save anything, because the weight of the batteries it's going to take for that truck to make the same trips is going to destroy the tires. It's going to destroy the roads because of the pure weight. To derive the same amount of power from electricity as it does from the diesel running the motor increases the weight by like 85 to 90%. It almost doubles the weight of the truck, just the cab. Okay? That's not a good thing. He's also saying that they're not going to be allowed into the state. I caught wind of that a while back, that they're saying that they're not going to allow them into the state when they do this. And it's like, well, how the heck are we going to get our groceries? Exactly, Tammy. They're not good. Oh, who was that? Tammy, Jamie. Hey, Jamie, how you doing? But anyways, folks, I just wanted to come on. I wanted to give you guys, I don't want to be down. I don't want to be, we have an opportunity, okay? If in my county, just with this little group that we had, can make a change in our central committee, we can get things brought to light in just one election, okay? Think about what can happen as other people get involved in their counties, in what's going on with their people, going on with the district attorneys and the judges and everything. Look at who your judges are that you're voting for. It is, Naomi. They my dad used to work with the in the town that we used to live in. He after he retired, he was doing volunteer work for the police department, and they had, I think he said they had 5 or 6 of those electric, I think it was the Toyotas, and they'd only had them for, I don't know, like 5 years, and they had to take 2 of them in. Oh, all right, Danielle, say hi to the boys for me. Give them a hug and a kiss. Good night. Love y'all. But he had to take them in and have them change out the battery packs. Folks, this isn't just opening up a flashlight and changing a D-size battery. You guys know this. It's like the whole undercarriage of the car. You just lift the body up and roll a new undercarriage under it almost. Okay, but the problem is now you've got these batteries that are no good anymore. Now, I did see a thing that really, it kind of brightened my day. There is a guy that is, he's one of the like battery recycling places, and he gets them from, you know, like if you go to Home Depot, they've got a box where you can turn in your old batteries, right? Well, that's what he does. He's old batteries, all this stuff, car batteries, everything. In fact, EV batteries. In fact, the guy that I was telling you about that has the Tesla truck that was pulling around his Hummer, when he actually made his Hummer an electric vehicle. That's how much he believes in electric vehicles. He went in to see this guy, and he gave him a tour of his plant, of the whole process of how they, you know, they have all these batteries come in, and he says they have more coming in. They had to get a whole nother warehouse to store the batteries so that they could process them. They're running 24/7 processing these things, and yet they're getting more batteries in than they can process. And so they showed how they break them down and how it's all ground up and this and that. And and everything that they do, and they run it through like some kind of an acid bath that will pull the battery material off, but all the plastic still is there. So, and then they have like a filter that grabs all the plastic and it gets washed, and then that gets recycled plastic wise, and then they've got all the battery material and all that. They let that dry out and it becomes like a cake, and then that gets shipped off somewhere else that they can reuse it. Okay. And that was pretty cool, but still at that, I can't be driving around. I don't care if it is a Tesla truck, and if it is 4-wheel drive, it ain't going to last up here in the snow. I take my Jeep out and I run that thing through deep snow. I've hit a couple of snowbanks where it just completely packs my radiator. You know, it's I go out and I help people. I pull their vehicles out, After the first snow, I throw the 2 buckets of sand and a bunch of chain in my truck or in my Jeep. Because I go out and I pull people out. That's what I do. It's fun. Especially when they have the little rice burners. Those things are hilarious. Those little things, I mean, they get high grounded, on a stick. And it's like, oh no, I can't go anywhere. It's like, why don't you raise your car up a little bit? You're in the mountains. But I don't know. But I do know that Trump has a very positive view of where this country can go. It's almost like he has a rung up. And hydrogen. I was studying hydrogen probably 10, 15 years ago. And there was a guy that I'm going to try to sleep now because it's 3 a.m., but I'm not leaving. I'm still okay, Sal. Yeah, we'll see if we can talk you to sleep. How's that? But I was reading, this guy actually came up with a way. He was working on hydrogen and everything. And the first thing that he came up with was how to make a welder. Okay? How to make a welder with hydrogen. It ran off of hydrogen. He actually had a converter in the thing, and it took the water, and it separated it and all that cool stuff. And it was neat because he was showing the one test that he did is he had a 1-inch brass ball, and he took it and he heated it up with his torch, and he's heating it up until it was red hot. Okay. Now, being a welder, I understand that the end of that torch should be very, very, very hot. Like, don't get near it for at least a half an hour hot. And he heated that brass ball up until it was glowing red, okay, just before it started to melt. And he took the torch off, and he shut the torch off, and he waited for about 10 seconds, and he reached up and he touched the tip with his fingers. And he says, it is perfectly cool. That blew my mind. But then he decided he wanted to figure out what else he could do with it. And he had this old car. And he figured out how to put a hydrogen generating unit, I guess you'd call it, I don't know, in the car. And on a gallon of water, he could drive 400 miles. That is the explosive energy that is in hydrogen. But I haven't heard about him I saw that. I saw a couple of news things about him, and then he just disappeared. There was no anything anywhere. I know that way back before that, back when I was like 20 and 30, racing cars, we used to come up with, there was a carburetor that we could get. And the thing was phenomenal for racing. I never thought about putting it on one of my street cars. So I was having a problem with one of my cars, and I took it into the dealership. And the guy said, they changed the intake manifold, and they changed this, and they changed that. And it was just sucky. And they said, all right, let us work on it. And then they called me and said, okay, it's done. So I went in and picked it up. So I drove from there. I knew how much gas it should take to get from there home. And I looked at the gas gauge, and the gas gauge hadn't moved. I went, oh, great, they screwed something up. So I figured I had enough to get to work and back the next day. So I drove to work and drove home. The needle didn't move. So I'm like, all right. So I stopped at the gas station on the way home. And it only took 1.5 gallons of gas. I didn't know what was going on. I was concerned. So I called them up. I said, what did you guys do to my car, man? Oh, well, we did this, that, we put a new manifold on it, and checked everything and compression and blah, blah, blah. And we put a new carburetor on it. Put a new carburetor on my car. Well, yeah. Okay. So I went out and I pulled the hood. I pulled the air cleaner and looked. It wasn't a stock Autolite POS 2-barrel little tiny carburetor that was on there. It was something else. And I drove that thing around for a while, and I just kept driving it, and I just kept driving it, and I just kept driving it. And I was getting insane amount of mileage. So I finally took it. This is being young and dumb. Okay, learn from my lesson. If something works, don't fix it. Okay. So I took it in, and I said, there's something wrong with it. And they said, well, why? The gas gauge isn't moving. I sent them off on that trip. They're looking and they're looking and they're looking and they're, no, gas gauge works just fine. We checked everything. Everything's fine. Okay. Well, what's it doing? What told you that? I said, the gas gauge isn't moving. I said, I put like 150 miles on my tank and the gas gauge ain't moving. So they're looking at it. They can't figure out what it is. And one of the mechanics called me up and he said, I know that you build race cars. He said, did you do anything at all to the car? And I said, no, I didn't touch it. I said, that's on you guys because it's still under warranty. He says, oh. I said, and stupid me, I said, the one thing I do know is that you guys changed the intake and the carburetor the last time it was in there. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I'll check into it and give you a call. 2 hours later, I get a call. Okay, it's all fixed. We found where the problem was. I'm like, okay. So I went in and picked it up. Sure enough, got in the car. I drove home, and it took exactly 1/8 of a tank. I went, okay, everything seems to be working right. And then it hit me, no, you idiot. Everything was working great before. It was the carburetor. There was something in there that was very good. Okay. And I started researching it. And come to find out, Ford had purchased a, what do you call it? Not blueprint, but a patent that a guy had made for a carburetor some years back for a carburetor that got insane amount of miles. Whatever it was, however it did, whatever it did, because I could never find plans. I could never find anything about it other than it gets phenomenal mileage. And Ford bought the patent, all the blueprints, bought all his machining, everything. And they had tried it on a couple of vehicles, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. And it didn't look anything like the one that was on my car. But like I said, the one that was on my car was not an Autolite carburetor. All that to be said, yes, the technology is out there. Hydrogen is a phenomenal idea. We have to be able to control the power of it because there are people out there that still are too stupid to pay attention to when they're driving, and who just, rear end people. I saw a thing they were talking to this guy is a Marine Corps vet, and he got blowed up when he was overseas, lost an arm and a leg, had a brand new Raptor truck. He saved up all his ducats. He decked that thing out the way he wanted, okay? Disabled veteran, man, he got a beautiful truck. One day he's sitting on the freeway and stopped in traffic. And for whatever reason, he looked up in his rearview mirror and there was a guy coming down the freeway. He was moving a whole lot faster than everybody else that was around the guy in the truck. And he sat there and the guy hit him so hard, it destroyed the whole back end on the Raptor and it destroyed the other guy's front end on his car. So the story got out, you know, he's a veteran and disabled 100% and this and that and the truck, and it was, you know, it was not even a week old. So Ford brought him in and they had him walk through the plant with them and everything. And then he sat down with some guys and he designed himself a new truck. And a week later, they delivered a brand new truck to him. Okay. So the ability, the things are out there, but people are playing on their phones or they're playing with their stereo in their car. Okay. They're letting themselves be distracted. And because of that, it's like the old Pintos, the old Ford Pintos. You get slammed into one of those things, and the original ones, you know, everybody says, "Oh, that's, you know, that's just a wives' tale. They blow up." No, if they get hit right, they do blow up. Okay, and so hopefully that wouldn't happen. I mean, you go back to Henry Ford's design. The gas tank was up on the firewall. It wasn't hanging out the back end where somebody's going to hit you, you know? So the technology's there. I just don't know if the human race is ready to accept it. So Kablooey Pinto, yep. Yeah, I had a 1980 Pinto, the little fastback. And I never touched the motor, I never touched the transmission, I never touched the rear end. But I dropped it 2 inches in the front by changing out the springs, and I dropped it an inch in the back. And I used to run car slaloms with it until my buddy turned me onto road rallies. And we used to run from Santa Barbara, California to Las Vegas. And we would do it in it'd take us about 18 hours because in the rally, they have all the checkpoints and everything. And being all over the place. And so we went up from Santa Barbara, we went out through Kern Valley, and we went up over the mountains, and we went through Zizix and then all these other places, you know, and then finally we went all the way out past Vegas and then turned around and came back into Vegas. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a gas. And I used to just run that thing to death. And but yeah, we have the technology. You've got hydrogen. We got electric, but it's not. I don't think it's ready for prime time. I think hydrogen's a lot closer. The only problem is storing it. Okay, so these are all things that we can do, folks. But the thing is if we don't start with what's right in front of us, this is long range. That's something that can be, maybe 5 years or whatever. We need to start with getting the building blocks right now. And we need to, there's all kinds of stuff behind me. There's got a, I got a whole wood shop back there. Okay, that's the other half of my wood shop. So there's all kinds of stuff behind me. So, oh, come on, hold still. There we go. Hey, Rebecca. I think it's a waste of money. What's a waste of money? What's a waste of money, Rebecca? Car racing? No, it's fun. Especially when you go upside down. You find out just about good your welder is. Yeah. I used to get yelled at because I'd tear the roof off of the car because I'd flip it up. Oh, electric cars? Oh yeah, no. They're good. They're let's just say that they are the rich man's golf cart. Okay? They're good for being around town and everything, but at altitudes where you don't have 1, 2, 3, 4 feet of snow. Okay? You don't want to have them down Louisiana, where you get it like that once that 100-year storm, but you get one about every 10 years that puts 3 or 4 feet of water in there. Okay, you want to keep them away from places like that, and places that flood, because they don't, electricity and water don't work good together. But like I was saying, the thing is, we need to work on right now. We need to work on stopping the bleeding. Okay, we need to get our country back on track where it needs to be. We need to get our borders shut. I'm not saying to stop everybody from coming. If you want to come, that's cool. Okay. Hey, Caesar, thank you. Welcome. But it's got to be done right. It's got to be done legally. Okay. If you take two people and the first person works and works and works and saves all of his money, okay, and this is actually one of my cousins did this, all through junior high school and all through high school. He worked and worked and worked and worked and worked and saved all of his money. And his graduation gift to himself was a brand new 1969 Mustang Mach 1. Okay, I mean, he picked it out. He got to choose the car. He paid cash for that thing. You take somebody else who they are given a car, okay, and unless they're a car guy or a gearhead or a girl, whatever, that understands taking care of things, they're not gonna take care of it as well. If they don't have, if you don't have any skin in the game, you're not gonna commit yourself to it. If we have people who come into our country who just, not only do they come in without having to file any paperwork, but they come in and they're given a phone and they're given money and they're given this and they're given that, okay, they're not going to have a level of respect like you and I do for our country. Some of them will. Some of them will. Don't get me wrong. But for the most part, a lot of them won't do that. And they're not going to want to work really hard to make the country any better. Yeah, Firebirds were cool. Yep. What my buddy used to call them, what do they call them? Super chicken? Something like that. Yeah, no, that was the Trans Am. I beg your pardon, that was the Trans Am. Okay. But Thunder Chicken, that was it, Thunder Chicken. And Corvairs were cool. Corvairs were very cool. I dug those. I had my very first car was a 1960 Rambler. And I traded that for 2 motorcycles. And then I got my girlfriend at the time, her brother was selling a 68. Yeah, it was a 68 Mustang Fastback. And the thing is that he had modified it to the point where we took it in and the guy wasn't going to pass it on smog. And my dad talked him in to go ahead and pass it. This is before all the computers and everything. And, go ahead and pass it because it's just all I was going to do is tear the car apart. So I had that for a while, and that was a lot of fun to drive. That thing had more horsepower than an 18-year-old really should have been allowed to have. And I did, in the span of 2 months, I ended up having to replace the tires on the back. And so I sold that one, and then I got a 66 Mustang convertible. And that was a gas. And my buddy and I we put 2,000 hours into the body. And then we shot it with midnight. It was silver impregnated midnight Corvette blue. I mean, it was the most insane color. It was gorgeous. And that's what almost got me kicked out of school one day, because one of the kids at school got pissed off at me. So when he went out to the parking lot, he walked down the side of the car with his key, and he from the front fender to the rear fender, he just dug his key in as hard as he could and went right down the thing. And I was sent home from school because I told him, I said, you better never let me see you in town. You better never let me see you anywhere. I said, because I will drop you where you stand and you will never stand up again. And so he went running to the counselor and the vice principal and the principal, and I ended up getting in trouble and having to send home. Love that car. And then I went from that into trucks and everything else, and four-wheel drives and fun stuff. But I think that we have a possibility. We can do this. We just each of us need to reach down and say, we need to find that place using what God has given us. If you can talk. If you can help people, help people. If you can, you volunteer, then volunteer. Because, folks, it's going to take everybody pulling right at the edge of what they can do to get this thing back. Ford Escort, a diesel wagon? The only cool thing was my friends would lay on the hood to smell the fumes. Yeah, drive for 500 miles on a tank of gas. I can believe that, Naomi. Oh yeah, MG convertible. Yes, I had a 67 MGB that I got from my cousin. It was hilarious. He had the car and he sold it, and he went. He bought another one. He got an MG midget, and then he had something else, and then he was really hoping he could get that car back. And he saw an ad in the paper, and he went up to see it. He went up to Montecito in California, and the guy that owned the house, the car was sitting there, and the pink slip was signed over to him, but he couldn't get it to run. It was my cousin's car. His name was still on the pink slip. The guy just signed it over to this guy. Never put the papers through or nothing. Picks it up and puts it on the trailer, and his buddy was with him. So he pays the guy money. Okay, fine. I mean, he paid like half of what he got for it. And they drove out, and he said, you know what? Stop for a second. Let me take a look at it. He got out, fooled around with the motor, and it fired off. He says, put the ramps down. I'm going to drive this thing home. And he did. So he had it for a while, and then he sold it to me. And I love that car. That car was phenomenal. Now, I had that. I had the Pinto. I had the Mustangs. I had a Dodge Dodge Polara. My buddy used to work at a junkyard in Los Angeles. And the old police cars used to have the 454s in them, great big monster motors, right? And they used to have the cross ram dual induction. They'd have two 4-barrel carburetors on it, but they had the long runners that would go, so it kind of eased out the pulsing in the intake manifold, so it was much of a much smoother flow into the intake. And so he called me up one night and he says, "Hey, I got this motor. You want it?" And I went, "Absolutely." So he pulled it out of the car. They pulled in a police car that had been just demolished, pulled the motor out, and dropped it in his truck, and he brought it over to my place, and we put it into my Polera, and it couldn't be beat. I would race. I don't care who it was, and I'm talking a 4-door, great big boat, and that thing would just poop and get. And the thing was, is it would never go by a gas station. It'd never pass a gas station. So I had to go and always fill the stupid thing up. And I'm like, this is costing me money. So I sold it. But cars are fun. Cars are cool. But our kids, our grandkids are not going to know these things that we're talking about. Yeah, 70 Camaro. Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, you build those things right, and that thing will get rubber in every gear. Corvairs were fun. A lot of these cars, and the neat thing is the things that we had now, they're collectors. People want them. I kicked myself for selling that Mustang, that convertible. Jiminy Christmas. The amount of money you could get for that thing now, it's crazy. But our grandkids are not going to know. Hopefully they will grow it into what they're going to enjoy. So when they get older, like us, they can look back and go, yeah, I had this, I had that, or my grandpa had this car. Yeah, I got this one, and this is, and hopefully the government doesn't destroy that for them. But that's all going to depend on you and I of what we do, what we can do. Okay. Not letting these people get away with this garbage. That's what it is. It's garbage. They're making rules and laws and outlawing this, and we can always just write. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, what was it? Oh shoot. A buddy of mine worked on back in the what was it, 70s? I think it was. Guy built a chopper, but it was one of the first trikes, but it had that C cab type of a cab on it, right, where it came over and everything. And the funny thing was is he built that thing working with somebody, and then that was in the 70s, I think it was, because it would be it was like 75 to 78, somewhere in there, right when I graduated out of high school. And Sam Foose, you guys know Chip Foose. Well, his dad, Sam Foose, I worked for his dad, and I swept floors is what I did, but I got to work with him on Saturdays. He said, "You want to come in and help me?" Yeah, I'll come in, and anything I could do to hang around him, because it's getting high off of those paint fumes, but learning about how to lay down paint and how to stripe and everything from him was just phenomenal. And anyways, that trike was painted by him, and then Jiminy Christmas, what was it? This is 24, so it was probably 18 or 19. There was a TV show on, it was Count's Customs over in Vegas. And the guy that worked for him, the painter, the young kid, okay, not the guys that like to do all the skulls and everything, the other kid, he got a call from somebody about painting a bike for him. And he figured it was just going to be, maybe tank and fenders and stuff. And he went in there, and there's this trike sitting there that they had just got done restoring completely. Come to find out, that was the guy that built it originally out here. And that was the one that Sam shot in his shop. He's over there, and he got to paint it. And the guy said, paint it however you want. The Green Machine, oh, that was, yes. Those were so cool. That was, see, that's the thing, folks. It was back when guys would have an idea and they go build it. There's, who's the other guy? Ian, can't remember his name. He was in, he used to live in Ventura, I think. And he bought a ranch out in the desert somewhere. But he made one of those bubble cars. And, where the whole canopy, the whole top of the thing looks like a spaceship, right? And he built one of those. And he did old school stuff. Yeah, West Coast Chopper. They did some phenomenal stuff. The Chopper guys, another buddy of mine, Eric Scarlett, he worked for Jesse James, or worked with Jesse James. They worked together. And, Jesse James had that, what was that show? Monster Garage, the original. And my buddy was there doing a lot of that and the paint and the mechanics and everything. And then he went out on his own, and Chip Foose. In fact, I actually had papers submitted to Chip Foose. We were talking about, they were going to redo my wife had a really they were going to redo it. And then all of a sudden they went off the air for a while. And I don't know exactly what happened, but when they came back up again, things had kind of changed around. And I reached out, and they were like, well, no, we decided we're not going to do that one. I was like, oh, okay. Monster Garage was really cool. There were some of them I could see where he was getting upset with some of those guys, because they bring in a build team and they would try to do something, but then they would settle for second best. I remember the one that they did where they tried to make they take a hovercraft and a car and marry them together. The one I thought was really cool is they took a PT Cruiser and made it a wood chipper. I thought that was awesome. That was just too cool. But anyways, my buddy Eric, he started doing stuff, and he was doing on his own. Very, very, very good, accomplished painter. The guy can lay paint down like nobody's business. He hand constructed a monument that if you go online and you look at Warriors Weekend in Texas, okay, there's a picture on their website of the Field of Valor, which is where they take all of the veterans. They go out and they have everybody's name is on a flag, and they'll have 500-600 guys that come in for the weekend to take them out fishing and everything. Eric built the sculpture. When you see the pictures, you're going to see one of the pictures where it looks like there's like this flame thing that's in the middle of it, right? And in that, you'll see that you're looking straight through the middle of it, because it's like there's the two sides of the flame come up like this, and it gets up like this, and you can see right through the middle of it. And there's a cross. You'll see the cross back on the field through the middle of it. He built that sculpture by hand. He didn't buy anything like that. It was all tubing just laying there on his garage floor and flat steel. And he came up with this idea because they wanted to come up with something that emulated, the eternal flame for the veterans. And he did all of that, and on top, he hand painted the whole thing, and he took it down. He had it shipped down there. He gets down there to put it in place, and somehow the directions had gotten messed up about how to build the base for the thing. So now he's welder, he's painter, he's the constructor of it, but he also had to rebuild the base. They had to go in and cut out the rebar to the base or whatever, and then get it clocked the way it's supposed to be, and then re-pour the concrete, and then get that thing set up on top, get it bolted down, everything wired up. It is the most beautiful thing I have seen. It was, I was hauling all of his welding gear down there for him, and we have a trailer, and we packed that thing. The poor little axle on that thing was probably screaming at me all the way down there, but we got everything down there, and I saw that thing, and it was just, I stood there, I just walked around the thing for, probably 20 minutes, because it is gorgeous. Okay. But he does that. I've got one of the very last flags that he made up here before he went down there. Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. In fact, the last time that I went cruising, I ended up getting a citation for endangering public safety. It was a federal misdemeanor because it was on private property. They couldn't bust me for anything else, so they had to nail me on a federal misdemeanor. But yeah, I remember going out cruising. You remember doing Chinese fire drills at the lights? You're going out and you're going along, and then all of a sudden, everybody jumps out and they're running around the cars and they jump all back in again. Oh, we used to do that all the time. Yeah, it was cool. Lincoln Electric Automation. We make welding fixtures for car manufacturers, Ford and Toyota mostly. Wow, Ricky. Yeah, it's that's Eric. All of his gears from Lincoln. Lincoln Welders. Yeah, he's got he being a disabled veteran, and the flags that he makes, they're beautiful. They're battle flags, and he donates them, and they're like everybody. I mean, when you see one, you know it, and so he donates a lot of that back to veterans and to veterans groups and everything, and so he's doing that now. He's down in Texas doing that now, and yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. So, hey, cowgirl, how you doing? But I don't think kids nowadays are going to have the chance to have the memories that we have, guys, and gals, unless we as grandparents, take them out, and like I took my kids out, and we have a Kmart here in town that's got a monster parking lot. We used to go out there and drive in the snow. I'd let them start driving around in the snow, and I'd pitch the whole thing sideways, let them slide. Whee! We just have fun. The thing is, I want them to get scared in a controlled condition, so that if they got out on the road and something happened, they wouldn't get scared in an uncontrolled, thing. But the kids nowadays, they want to sit behind computers. They don't want to get their license. They don't want to go out and do things. I going out sand racing with my buddies. We go up to Pismo Beach and go up there for the clam festival, and go out and watch the sand drags. And these guys are building these. They've got 1,800 horsepower in a frame, that probably weighs less than I do, and they launch those things, man. There ain't nothing but sand for miles behind them. Going off-roading and flipping vehicles. I've done that. Been upside down several times. So yeah, we need to, that's the America I remember. That's the America that I know and love. That's the America that I raised my right hand and went into the military for. I felt that the country had blessed me with that kind of a life. So, yeah, exactly, Tammy. That's what my buddy did. That his dad did that. They where we used to live, they had a place they called Tarantula Hill, and his dad did that to him. He put him into the driver's seat. He taught him how to put it in, lock it into 4-wheel drive, gets inside and put it down into low, and just had him just drive it up the hill. And that's how you do it. You teach him how to do it. Oh, Jamie, you're going to take off? All right. Thank you so much, hun, for hanging around. It's been good. Kind of miss these times with our fearless leader when he was here, when he would we do night trips like this singing. So, but yeah, these are things that we can do. These are things that we can make happen for our grandkids and the families, right? We need to take on that mantle from our ancestors, from our parents, from our grandparents. Okay, my grandpa was the one that taught me how to drive a tractor. Whoever heard of a 13-year-old kid driving a $500,000 tractor? That thing had 8 wheels. I thought it was an 8-wheel drive. No, Dana, it's just a tractor. Yeah, but it's got 8 wheels, Grandpa. It's just a tractor. 100 by 160. Wow. That is crazy, Ricky. That's got to be a monster. What the heck do you machine on this table that big? Let's see, 96 is 8 feet. So you're talking just over 8 feet by 8 and 5 is 13. So you're talking like 14. You're talking like 8 by 14. Yeah, Tammy. I was driving farm vehicles as soon as I could reach the pedals. My grandpa would have me out there driving, my uncle, and they'd have me working the farm with them, all summer long. From the moment I got out of school, my dad would send me up there, and my parents, and I'd be up there all summer long. I'd come out, probably 2-3 days before school started, and just enough time to go down and buy a new set of pants and shoes so I could, go to school at least looking halfway decent. Yeah. Yeah, and see, that's the thing, is that a lot of us were thrown into that kind of a situation like that. Having to be the man of the house, or having to jump in to help the family. And it's a life I wouldn't wish on my kids, because of things that we've had to go through. But at the same time, I'm really thankful for the lessons I learned. Okay, lessons about like my uncle with his farm. He raised chickens. Okay, he raised the chickens for eggs. He raised the chickens for meat, and so I had to learn about dispatching them. I'd be up there for the summer. Well, we're going to have chicken. We're going to have fried chicken. Oh, cool. Where are we going to get it from? He says, from the building out back. We got a setup. We got to go back and we got to get us some chickens. Okay. Very first time he ever did it, I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. I was so green behind the ears. If I turned my head sideways, I would have drowned it. And when it was just like, what are y'all doing? We are getting dinner, and you're going to be expected to help. So I had to help after they were dispatched. I was helping pluck the chickens. My grandma would boil a great big pot of water, and she would dunk them in there a couple of times, and then it was like the feathers would come right off. It was a piece of cake, And then the next time is I was inside with my cousins, helping to herd the chickens. They had certain ones they want certain ages to come out, so and they had it worked up. So the guy that was right outside of the barn would control the door. They would herd 3 or 4 or 5 into this little area, and then he'd open the door, and one chicken would run out, and he'd shut the door, and he'd grab it, and he'd by the neck, and he'd hand it over to my uncle, and go on from there. And then that's what they did. And then I learned about all the chicken poo. I couldn't figure out what my uncle did with all the chicken poop. Well, he sold it, bought himself a brand new boat with that money. He called that his poop boat. I'm being using a nice word about that, But these are things my kids will never. The ranches are gone. Times are gone, and somebody said earlier, that about the electric cars, how they're really good for a 15-minute city. Yeah. The problem is I'm praying that my kids don't have to get into a 15-minute city. Oh man, I cut myself. Okay. I was doing some work today and getting stuff done. So, but there are a lot of memories, a lot of fun. The easy bake ovens. Yes, I remember easy bake. My one of my cousins had one of those. It was a cool little oven. Chicken nuggets come from McDonald's. They do. Well, I still can't understand what part of a chicken is a nugget. And just by the name of it, I'm not really exactly sure if I want to eat the nuggets off of a chicken. Yeah. Yeah, I remember milking cattle. I remember my grandpa. His farm was right next to. This is on my mom's side. He had the farm right next to my uncle, and they had in between the two of them. They had a pasture where they kept their bull, and I didn't know from nothing, so I figured it was a shortcut to go over one fence, walk across this pasture, and walk. I didn't realize that the bull was in the barn and the doors were wide open. He had free range of that whole thing. Funny thing is he don't like people in his thing, right? So I go walking across there. My grandpa's on one side screaming at me in Mexican, screaming at me in Spanish, just I can't. What are you saying, Grandpa? He's like motioning, like, come on. And I'm like, I'm coming. And my uncle's behind me. He says, boy, if you don't move, you're going to become worm dirt. It's like, I turn around and say, what are you talking about, Uncle Carl? And he goes, you want to look toward the barn, please? So I did. I looked toward the barn. He said I turned white as a ghost. And I was standing there facing my uncle. And he said, you're closer to that side. I would run that way now. I did. I got out of there. But while I was there, the bull just took a liking a little bit too much to the grass that's right on the outside of his pen, up by the road. No, Tammy. No, that's not where it comes from. It comes from the Mrs. Cow, not the Mr. Cow. And he just kind of leaned a little bit too hard on the fence and snapped off a couple of the 4x4s. Well, he walked out, so he's mowing the grass out there, and he figured that he was going to go up the road. Well, we'd gone in to get some stuff and came back as me and my uncle and my grandpa, and we drive up and pull into the driveway at my uncle's. My uncle looks over and he goes, hey, Dad, is that fence supposed to look like that? And he looks over and he goes, Dad, gummit. He says, let's go find the bull. So drive down the road, and we're looking, and pretty soon there's the bull. He's out in somebody's field, just sitting out there, just munching down. He's just mowing the place for him. He's just eating everything. My grandpa jumps out. My grandpa is about as tall as I am, 5'6", 5 foot. He walks up and just smacks the snot out of the bull. And the bull's sitting there and kind of raises his head like he's about to do something. And all of a sudden he realizes who's standing in front of him. And my grandfather's standing there looking at him right in the eyes. And he starts going off in Spanish. And my Uncle Carl covers my ears. He goes, "You shouldn't be hearing this right now." And I said, "Why not? Why? What's easy?" He says, he's basically insulting everything, every part of his family as far back as he can think. And I went, "Oh, okay." So he takes his rope and he's got the bull ring in. He clips it into it, pulls it out. And he says something to my uncle, and my uncle looks at me and he says, "Grandpa wants to know, you want to ride the bull?" I said, "That's the bull you told me to run away from." He says, "Uh-huh." He says, "But you notice the ring in his nose?" I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Grandpa's got the rope. That bull will go wherever Grandpa wants him to go." I went, "Sure." Put me up on the back. We walked all the way back down the road. Grandpa sitting there walking, just cussing and swearing in Spanish. So we get back, and he puts him back in. He walks him right back through the hole in the fence that he put him in. My uncle takes me off and puts me outside. He takes the rope off and smacks the bull, and it just walks right back into the barn. You know, all that land is gone now. It's all gone. And these are the things, folks, that our kids and our grandkids aren't going to get to see. And you know, they're not going to get to get blisters on their hands because they're working on a ranch for their summer. You know, it's not going to be like these other, like the kids now, how, they get out of school and for all summer long, they gain about 30 pounds because all they do is play on their stupid computers. They never go outside. They don't ride their bikes. They don't, go out and get banged up or break an arm or a leg or something. They just sit in their rooms on their computers. But our generation is the one that can at least help them somewhat. I started with my youngest, not my youngest, it's actually the oldest grandson. When they were here, we went down to my lower property and we're down there and throwing rocks, and just having a ball, just throwing dirt clods. I put a rock out there and I started, throw it. So he's throwing, pretty soon he's hitting the rock with dirt clods. And it was like, oh, that's great. We're having fun. Just him and Grandpa just throwing rocks. But we need to take back our country. You're more than welcome, Rain. I got a lot of them. It's there's all kinds of I have not lived a stagnant life, if you will. I've been pulled over, had handcuffs put on me, and instead of taking me to jail, the cop thought it would be a whole lot better to take me home to my dad. I probably should have begged him to take me to jail. But that's for another time. Yeah. You got pictures of everything. That's not fair. The kids aren't going to get to know this. My daughter and my son-in-law, they've got a decent spread up there where they are right now. God is blessing them like nobody's business. It's just, they are having their trials, but the thing is that through that they're growing and he's making a name for himself in the area. They may not understand it, but they respect him for who he is and what he's doing. Right. So in doing that, and by having this land, he is able to have something he can pass on to his boys, to his family. to leave something, to leave a legacy. And sometimes those are the things that we need to put our investment in, not yeah, oh yeah, no, being crazy was just, that was just par for the course for me. We used to but see, Alan, the thing is you have a skill set, you have knowledge, you have wisdom about woodworking before they added in all of the new electronics. Okay, if you just retired, if you retired lately, probably one of the things you saw coming in is the insurance companies were saying you have to take out the wood shop and you got to take out the metal shop and the different ones that where people get hurt, kids lose fingers, kids get burned in metal shop. Trust me, I know. I leaned on a vise one time after they had done some work with the torch by the vise. The vise was hot. I don't even have the marks anymore. I had marks on my arm for years where I leaned on top of the vise. But you have this skill set. And I don't know if you still like doing woodwork. I love woodwork. That's why I have my no room shop. I'm going to start calling this the no room shop. Because to change my mind, I got to step outside. We're looking at maybe pushing the front of the garage out about 20 feet, which would be very nice. I got plenty of room in the driveway, so it wouldn't be a problem. But I need to, yep. Yeah, exactly, Alan. Exactly. That's what they did to ours. I remember my auto shop teacher. I knew that there was something different about him. I knew that there was something about him. Just by the way whenever he came into class, I mean, his hair was combed, right? His clothes were squared away and everything. I didn't find out until probably 15 years after I graduated, 20 years after I graduated. Well, let's see, I graduated 78. 88, I went into the military. 92, I came out. 92, so probably somewhere out 95 or so, 93. I tried to find out how he was doing. I tried to find out what he was doing. And I found out that he had passed. And I found the link to his obituary. Come to find out, he was a second lieutenant in the Army. When in the whole thing, and it talked about him and how he was in the Army and he was a second lieutenant, and then he came out and he became a teacher like you, and he taught auto shop. And the guy that had the shop right next to him was also a veteran. He taught the metal shop. Okay, but they taught more than just shop. They taught about life. And now it's they don't want the kids to know that. They want them, oh, you need to learn about computers, or you need to learn about this or that. And the problem is that one decision to remove it from the high schools and to push more toward the academic. Okay, see, the problem is in America, we have academics, okay, but it is a balance between academics and I don't know how you call it, the jobs, like Mike Rowe talks about, right? He talks about how the kids don't know how to do things with their hands. They don't know how to weld. They don't know how to carve a piece of wood. They don't know how to make things. They don't have the ability to think of, if I have this, what can I do with it? Tradesmen, yes, Ben, exactly. The kids don't. You hand them a tape measure, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's got big numbers on it. Measure that." Okay. Well, what is it? Well, I don't know. I don't know how to read it. So you got to take an 18, 19, 20-year-old, whatever he comes in. You got to teach him how to read a tape measure. You got to teach him how to read a pair of calipers. See, these are things that you and I, you're right, Zach, he is. They should. They, yeah, 7, even below that, even below 7 years old. I mean, I remember when I was in kindergarten, there was it kindergarten? No. Yeah, it was kindergarten or first grade. Let's see. First grade. I remember driving, they had wood and I had a hammer and I was building stuff. In first grade. It was cool. I mean, I had to do other things too. They're like, okay, well, now you're gonna have to paint it. And I'm like, I don't like to paint. I like to build. And no, you're gonna have to paint it. And it's like, fine. So I painted the whole thing blue. I remember that. And but we need to share that with the other generations. Oh, but the thing is, Ben, like me, if you give me a book about something, I'm not real good at it. I have a problem reading it. Well, I shouldn't say I have a problem. I used to not be able to read something and then put it into practice. Okay. I'm what they call a tactile learner. If you show me how to do something, tell me that didn't want their kids to work on toilets or be grease monkeys. I taught critical thinking. Now they teach critical race theory. Yeah. Critical thinking is good. Critical race theory is not where they want to go with that. Okay. But the thing is that, I mean, all my kids know how to change the oil in their cars. My youngest one has worked in the shop with me. He's turning wood and stuff. My oldest one knows about mechanics and how to work on stuff. And he's a, heck, I don't even know what they call a classification. He's in the Navy. He's works on helicopters. And my daughter, she's the green. She takes after her mom. She's got the green thumb. That's applying something that See, I that's one of the things I had. I had ADHD. I was so off the deep end. They couldn't even find a spot to label me. They couldn't figure out. Okay. I had one teacher who was able to he would let the rope out. He'd let me go on a project, but then he'd pull me back in a little bit. And he'd help to start guiding. He didn't stop the energy. He just kind of directed the energy, and it really helped. He was able to teach me, how to think and things, and to do that. But nowadays, teachers get, I don't know how long they get, what now, like 50 minutes or 45 minutes in a class, and they're pushing the high school kind of a thing down to, yeah, I saw that, Cleo. It's whoever came up with that idea, should be taken out and flogged. Or better yet, we'll take them down to Australia where they have those great big fire ants and bury them up to their neck and let them have a day. So it's the kids need to learn how to do things. I can literally, if you take me out and show me a piece of land undeveloped, I can actually go from that through the planning stage, through the building stage, and turn over the keys. Okay, there's some things in there that I can't do, but for 99% of it, I can do that, the whole thing. And it's kids nowadays, to fix something, it's call a plumber or buy a new one. Oh, this doesn't work. Throw it out. It doesn't work. No, you just got to figure out what's wrong with it. Like our vacuum cleaner. I have a German Shepherd he's my service dog, and I vacuumed the house, and I noticed it wasn't picking up real well. I knew exactly what it was right away. He flipped the thing upside down, and the roller's in there, and the roller's completely clogged up with his hair. But some people wouldn't even think about looking at that. Some people, it doesn't work, take it down to the shop and get it fixed. And the guy will charge you $75, and all he did was just cut the hair off the roller and say, there you go. I've had people tell me, I want to get something fixed, and they're like, it'll cost you more to get it fixed than it would be to buy a new one. Well, if I can fix this one, then I don't have to buy a new one. I've got ideas and drawings about, I want to build one of those recumbent bikes. Oh, yeah, the washing machine. That was fun, wasn't it, Tammy? That was interesting. We had a little incident with our washing machine, but anyways, like my Jeeps. I don't even take my Jeeps in to have them worked on because, hey, Back, how you doing? Oh, I'm sorry, Rain. I got the manual and I research and I find out, and then I figure out how to fix it. I have my son was helping me. We were replacing the seals on the front axle on one of the Jeeps. It's a 4-wheel drive, so it's all it has is right where the pumpkin is. It has 2 seals right there. It doesn't the oil, the lubricant doesn't go all the way out the axle tube. It stays right up next to where the pumpkin is. So we're changing everything out, and he happened to get down there and he looked and he goes, Dad, that doesn't look right. So I got down and looked at it, and you should be able to look straight through the thing from one end to the other, right? Well, you couldn't. It looked like the thing was bent around a corner. Oh, that makes all the sense in the world. Okay, so we got a bent axle. So I had to find another axle, and we swapped out the front axle on that thing. Actually what I did is I found another Jeep, and we just swapped axles. And I'd never done that before, but read through the book real quick. Okay, this is what I got to do. Okay, great. Disconnect this, disconnect that, move this over, move that over, boom. Okay, bolt it up. I mean, it took us a while to do it. It took us, Jiminy Christmas. I think it took us a couple of weeks actually, because and I don't know why they do this, but you go in to get a part. You say, I need an axle seal for this. And what axle seal? The book doesn't show any axle seals. This is where it is. Well, no, I don't. There's not there. There's nothing there. And You're like, oh, okay. So now you got to figure out how to find the right one. You finally get the right one, and um, get those put in, and clean out the axles because they're full of dirt, because the end of the axle isn't sealed up real well. So, anyways, go through all that, and it's just reading a book, doing things. Nowadays, they're just like, well, it's an old Jeep. Let's get rid of it and we'll get another car. We'll buy a new one. Well, no, I don't want to go into debt like that. And what are you guys talking about? What? Axel what? Maybe Axel Rose would have helped. That was lame. That was very lame. I don't need any roses on my axles. All right, cowgirl, you take care of yourself. Thanks for being here. This turned into a criminy sake, folks. We've been on here for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I am so sorry. I don't know. It's. I guess what it comes down to is, like Tammy told me before I got on, is the kids. That's what it comes down to. We gotta take care of our kids. We have to teach. What is it? Was it Beatles that sang the song? No, it wasn't. Teach your children well their father's hell, that they may go by. We need to not so much teach them the problems, but yeah, exactly, Naomi. A lot of time there's some things that I can't, but see, and that takes wisdom right there. If and I'm sorry, Tammy, but when my washing machine broke on us, just the service call was more. Yes, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. When the washing machine broke, the service call for them to come out and work on it was more than the parts for me to buy the parts. Okay, now it broke twice. There were two things. That should be an S instead of a T, shouldn't it, Rain? CSNY? Oh, before Young. Okay. No. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Yeah. Okay. But it broke twice. But the thing is that even with both of them, we had the cost me less than the service call for the first, have them come out the first time. Did I know how to do it? No. Did I know where the problem was? No. Was I afraid to take it apart? No. I'm never afraid to take anything apart. I tear it all the way down and I'll put it back together. That doesn't bother me. Especially when I don't know about it. Our kids right now don't know that, folks. I think that is the biggest thing about tonight is our children. I'm realizing more and more that the children now that are growing up don't know about this. I've got I've got more than that. I've got like 11 bikes sitting on the side of the house that, like we go up to the dump and throw out a bunch of our when we trim the trees and back and stuff, I'll drag it all up to the dump. Well, they've got a section in there for all the metal stuff. And I'll go in there and I'll kind of hunt around in the metal. I'm finding bikes left, right, and center. And the guy will once in a while, he'll let me take one, or maybe two. And they, you know, people are just throwing, perfectly good bikes, but they're getting rid of them. And so now I have a horde of bikes that I'm going to be able to build a recumbent bike from. And it's going to be interesting. It's, something I want to do maybe this summer. Well, I got my welder, I got all my stuff, and if I need a part, I can forge something or whatever. Young was only there for 2 albums. He was. But anyways, folks, it has been fun. I have loved doing this with you guys. It is, I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If not, I know I think I have 2 sets sitting around here somewhere. Yeah. And yeah, you can still buy inner tubes. In fact, I'm working on, I don't even know where it is now. I've got a design around here somewhere. I'll show you guys what I did with my workbench. Oh, all right. Get all my stuff out of the way. Let's see if I can unstrap you here. Okay. Oh, wait. Come on. Okay, there we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is turn this around. Okay. Oh, let me stand up here on my chair so I kill myself. This is my workbench. Okay, it goes all the way down over there. That's all my reloading stuff. Got all my reloading stuff hanging up here. Down here, if you notice in the track, I've got a T-track here and a T-track there. Well, all the stuff that I have, all my equipment goes in these 2 tree tracks, so they hang off the front edge out here. Well, what I'm going to do is a friend of mine who makes these plates for me for the for that track, and I'm going to have him make me one so that I can put a clamp on it, and I'm going to put a clamp out so I can hang my bikes out here and work on my bikes here in the garage once I get room. You guys ain't got an extra box of room around there anywhere, do you? Just a little wee bit of room that I could use? Oh, yeah, it's a mess. It is. This is what happens when I've got 5 different projects going. Plus, this is when I say I'm in the shop when we're doing the Bible study, this is where I am. You just looked, what you saw there is cleared out just for the Bible study. So, yeah, it goes that way about 15 feet and it goes this way about another 5 feet. But everything that's in here it's all made out of, the only thing that I paid for was the epoxy that I poured into the top. Okay. Uh-oh, what's he talking about? About to be unstrapped? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, this is where we have Bible study. And because it's I mean, in the house is I'd have my service dog all over me, or my wife's doing her Bible study, her classes and everything, and so this is me, and it's for better for worse. This is what I do, and but yeah, I design things. I have steel plates sitting out on the side of the house that I can use to make this bracket with. And I've got to design the clamps so that I can stick the bikes in there. And that way the bikes can be held up here and I can work on them. And I don't have to be laying on the ground or whatever. So, yeah. And it is messy. It is very messy. and I'm working at it. You'd be surprised how bad it was 2 days or 3 days ago. It was even worse. So I have projects I've got a chair and a table sitting over there that belong to my sister-in-law that I promised her I would get done. Let's just leave it at a long time ago. Okay. I've got to tear it apart. I've got to get it fixed. There's some problems with it and get that project done. So, anyways, folks, we really do need to make sure that we teach our children well. We don't have to teach them the bad things. Don't, but let them, give them room to run, give them boundaries, but let them play. Let them get out there. Let them, fall down and skin their knees. Let them go out and eat bugs or whatever and go dig a hole or play and make memories. Because in that, it will give them that desire to make this country what it was. If we can show them the fun that we had, we show them the things that we did, going down on 4th of July and digging out great big huge holes in the beach so that we could have like our own little like area where everybody would go, and you have a place for a cooler, and you have another place is like a fire pit so you can cook over there, and we actually set up a nursery. One year we had some friends who had kids, and so we made one area where the kids could, with a real nice cover over it, so that the kids could play in there and have fun, stuff like that, and going down and watching the fireworks. Now a lot of places don't even have fireworks, or they light them off in the morning. They do it at, dark 30. So great. Mom and dad have to get up at 3 in.the.morning so that by 4 o'clock we can get in the car to go and watch fireworks, until we can just barely see them. We can't see them anymore, because the sun's coming up, and well, dadgum, that was a waste of time. And because there's, it was more fun at night when you could watch them. And, but they it's costing too much to make them, and it costs too much for this and too much for that. Well, let's make them here. Don't make them somewhere else in another nation. Make them right here. Make memories. Make the time to make the memories. I know we're all busy. I know that we're all hurting. I know that it's but God's got this. God, I cannot give up on the fact that God has this. I don't care who we are, who you are, where we stand. God's got this. I promise you that. Okay? We just have to hold up our end of the bargain, our end of believing in Him and living our life to bring honor to Him. That when somebody says, oh, he says he's a Christian. Oh yeah, I can tell by how he acts. He's so polite. He's so nice, and he helps, and he does this, and he does that, and he doesn't take money. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. They're such a great person. She's great. She's awesome with this and that, and they doing this. Instead of it being somebody saying, well, yeah, he says he's a Christian. Are you sure we're talking about the same person? That person? There's no way that person's a Christian. You didn't hear what I heard him say the other day over in Wally World or over in the Quick Mart. He was yelling and screaming cussing at him, just cussed up a storm like a sailor. And I saw him driving down the road, and he's cutting people off and stuff. We got to hold up our end of the bargain, because if we don't, the future don't look too bright. So, folks, I have enjoyed this like you'll never know. Dang, I got another cut. I got to get out of the shop. I'm cutting myself all up. I really have. You guys, this is and this is, if you guys like it, great. If you don't like it, then you can talk to Tammy about it, and Naomi, okay? Because it's one of them two, and they can split up the blame between the two of them, because I didn't even realize that this thing was set to go off tonight, and I just was switching between things I was watching on my phone while I was doing some writing here, and trying to design this clamp, and I looked up, and I happened, just for a second, I saw something from Naomi, and I was like, does he know what? You know, and I went over and I checked my messages, and they're like, well, yeah, you know, you got this thing going on. It says you're about to go live. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No. What? So it's their fault. It's not my fault. Actually, no, I will take full and complete blame. Okay. If you guys, if you know, if you want, I'll take the full blame on it, because, I love being here. This is cool. I love talking to you guys, and you know, usually it's all about Jesus and all about God in the morning, and you know, we kind of got to just talk, and well, I got to talk. You guys got to, Rain, don't threaten. You guys, you crazy. So I'm going to let you go, folks. I'm going to get you prayed up for the night. Okay. We'll be back here in what is it, 9:30. So we're looking at, about 9.5 hours. We'll be back here again, doing this all over again. Okay. So, let me get you guys prayed up for the night. I appreciate it again for y'all being here. Father God, I just thank you so very, very, very much for this time. You've given us a chance to see a different side of each of us, and to remember what it was like when we were growing up, and the things that we did, and the fun that we had, and the mistakes that we made. And I just thank you, Father God, for this time. I thank you for your blessing, that even though I made a mistake somehow, and the timer was set for something different, that you made it something good, something great out of this, Father. And I just pray, Father God, that you bless each person that's here. You just cover them in your blessing, Father God, tonight. To protect them, to love them, to keep them safe, Lord. That all that they do would bring glory to you, Father. That everything that they do, everything that they touch, Father God, would have your imprint on it. The people that they talk to, the places that they go, the workers that they come in contact with, Father God, that it would leave an impression behind, Father, just like your footprints in the sand, that our presence would leave a imprint on their lives. I thank you for this time, Father God. It has brought back so many memories, so many great things that we've done, I've done. I know that they've seen a little bit more about me than they probably really want to, heard more about me than they want, but that's okay, Lord. They're family. And quite a few years ago, I wouldn't have ever done this, but it's okay now. It's their family. It's good, Father. And I thank you for my family. I just ask you, Lord, to watch over them, bless them, and keep them. And that we can all meet back here tomorrow morning, or tomorrow, whenever they can watch. And I just praise you and I thank you. I give you all the glory and the honor. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen. All right, folks. It doesn't look like we got any more messages. Oh, wait. Oh, holy cow. My phone froze, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I missed all the comments and everything. Oh, wow. Okay. There's a whole conversation going on there that I'm not even part of. All right, guys. I love y'all. Yeah, it's getting late. I can tell because my plumbing's leaking here. So, anyways, I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Be safe. Be good. Pray. Say your prayers. Love on God. Love on your family. That's the one thing that's going to get us through, folks, is that love. So I will see you tomorrow morning. Again, Naomi and Tammy, thank you guys very much for putting me out here to do this. And we'll get after it tomorrow morning. God love you guys. Bye-bye. Wow. Thank you, Lord.